Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. We're excited to have you here for our webinar, Supercharge Your Catalog Ads with Creative Overlays. Before we dive in, please introduce yourselves in the chat and let us know the D2C brand you own or manage as a performance marketer. A quick brief before we begin. The audience can feel free to ask questions in the chat box and we'll take them up during the live Q&A session. And we'll also be launching some interactive polls and we'll love to hear your inputs. And stay tuned till the end and get a chance to grab a 30-day free trial of the Big Atom tool. So as you all know, Black Friday and Cyber Monday just wrapped up and it was a massive success. A 9.5 increase was reported in the UK retail transactions and a 9.3 rise in orders across EMEA. So I would like to ask the audience, what were your biggest takeaways from this year's BFCMs? You guys are open to share your insights in the chat. It's great to know that BFCM was such a success for all of you as well. So let's get things started with a quick poll.
मैंने करवा दिया था वैसे मुस्कान मैं देख रहा हूँ क्या हाँ तो गैस पास की दो कैंपेन होगी थी दोनों में करवा दिया था वही करना था
Yeah, so Anshul, can we have the poll slide for the audience? So you all will be seeing the images on the screen. So which image are you more likely to click on if shown on Instagram? We'll have our poll up for you to answer the question. So are you going to choose image A without the product overlays or image B with overlays that show product attributes? Request everyone to participate. Thanks for your responses. It seems most of you prefer option B. So why do you think that is? What makes image B more appealing? Let's hear from you guys. So feel free to drop in your thoughts in the comment box. It's great to see that many of you mentioned overlays, call outs for pricing, discounts, and even event overlays on the image B. So these are the exact strategies we'll be discussing today. So our goal for the webinar is to help you overcome common challenges and optimize your catalog ad performance. Without further ado, let's welcome our speakers, Anshuk Agarwal and Azam Siddiqui. Anshuk is the co-founder of BigAtom with over 10 years of experience working with global D2C brands like Puma, Levi's, Hunkamola, and Sephora. And Anshuk has managed ad spends worth over $100 million. Next up, we have Azam. He is a brand communication professional and brings a wealth of experience from top-tier agencies like McCann, Versace, where he's worked on globally recognized brands like Coca-Cola and General Motors. His insights have been featured in renowned publications like Brand Equity. Now, I would like to welcome Anshul to take us through today's session.
Thanks, Arlene. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Very warm welcome to all of you. Super excited to be part of this webinar today. My name is Anshuk. I'm one of the co-founders of BigAtom. We've been in this space for the last 10 plus years, and we have worked with around 300 plus brands, helping them grow in the APAC region and also in the US and North America. Just a quick brief about our brand. We've handled spends more than $100 million of ad spends annually on Meta. We are one of the top 10 partners of Meta in Asia Pacific. Like I said, we work with around 200 plus brands, and we are one of the top e-commerce partner of Google. So what I'll talk about today is based on our learnings on working brands like Only, Hanke Moller, Jack and Jones, Vero Moda. And we have seen that overlays play very, very critical strategy when we scale these brands. I know some of you must be thinking that why a webinar specifically on overlay? When I interact with brands, many of them don't consider overlay as a core strategy when scaling on e-commerce. But our experience has been that overlay can be one of the biggest levers, and which is what I will try to convince you in the next 10 odd minutes of my presentation. So this is the agenda for today. We'll try to keep it quite brief. I'll start with 5 very crisp strategies which we have seen when we work with brands. And these are strategies on top of catalog ads. They work in fashion apparel space, but also work for industries like beauty, health, and wellness. I'll talk a little bit about challenges which brands face when they're applying overlays on top of platforms like Meta, a bit about how BigAtom helps us solve these challenges. And towards the end, of course, we have a live question answer session. We have Azam as well on the call. So happy to address any questions which any of you guys would have. Now, just before we start, I thought I'll just call this out. We are talking about a brand called Rare Rabbit. They are one of the largest men apparel brand in Asia Pacific. They very aggressively use overlays. Upwards close to $100 million of GMV they have on their own website. And what we have realized is this. Overlays actually help them get 115% increase in click rates. And what you can see on the right side is there's this nice overlay of up to 50% off. And this is one of the many overlays which the brand uses when they advertise on platforms like Meta and Google. So the call out here is overlays are critical. And let's jump into 5 specific strategies, and then we can decode them one by one. These are the 5 strategies I thought I'll cover in our webinar today. Of course, we have a slide each for each of them. So let me just jump to the first strategy and sort of talk about it. Referring back to the same brand, House of Rare, this is a strategy which they use. The brand does end of season sale twice in a year, and they have a very diverse catalog of products. So they have upper wear like shirts, t-shirts. They have lower wear like trousers. They have footwear, shoes as well. And what we realize is when they go to end of season sale, every category actually goes on end of season sale. So it's not a specific category discount. It's a site-wide discount which they do. It could be 30%, 40%, 45% off as well. So what becomes very important is across all their ads, and they would at any point in time have around 100 plus ads running. Across all their ads, they update the end of season sale overlay. And we have seen that it helps them massively reach out to their target audience, announce the EOS end of season sale. And we have seen great uplift in CTRs and conversion rates. Many a times when they run this end of season sale, they see up to a 5x increase in their daily revenue run rate. So if a brand is doing, let's say, $10,000 on a daily basis on a business as usual, they would do $60,000, $70,000 during their end of season sale. And overlay updation across 100 plus creatives becomes one of their key strategy to announce the end of season sale. I want to call out that if it is done manually, this activity could take up to 10 man hours just trying to update 100 creatives with these overlays. The second strategy I want to talk about today. So the first one was end of season sale. The second one is very, very pertinent to our timing because we just got over with BFCM. I'm sure many of you would have run your BFCM sale, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We saw this with a marketplace, Aza Fashion. They are a women ethnic wear brand. They sell very actively in US, Europe, and some of the other North American countries. What we did for them is they had a different overlay for Black Friday and a different overlay for Cyber Monday. So you can see on the left side, you have this Black Friday sale is live, use code Black Friday. And they did on the right side, Cyber Monday sale is live, use code Cyber Monday. Now, why would a brand want to do that? We have seen that the 4-day BFCM, sometimes brands lose out the momentum on the second and the third day. So if you want to really make the most out of your BFCM event, a good strategy is during the sale event, change the messaging. So on 29th and 30th of November, which is Black Friday, we had the BF overlay. On 30th and 1st of December, 1st and 2nd of December, we had the Cyber Monday overlay. And when we did this change, we saw that the CTRs actually jumped the moment we moved from Black Friday to Cyber Monday. Now, point to note here is there was a total of $50,000 of spend on these 4 days. If it was done in the regular fashion, we would have seen all the ads go back into learning. And that we have seen is a big, big disruptor to the performance. And I'll talk a little bit about how we do that at BigAtom later in the deck as well. But when we do using our technology, we avoid all the ads go back into learning, which is why the brand is able to see that uplift in performance. So the second strategy for today is effortlessly switch messaging during the sale event. I also want to call out the third strategy. Now, many of you would know or may not know that overlays on Meta, while they do work on Facebook feed, they don't work on Instagram feed. And that is by design. Meta wants Instagram to be more native, so they never rolled out their overlay features on Instagram. But when we work with this brand Sephora, Sephora is a very large beauty marketplace. It's a global marketplace. They do very frequent launches on their brand website. They did the Kylie Cosmetics launch just 6 months ago in the Indian market. And because Instagram is one of the core platforms for Sephora, what they wanted to do is they wanted to roll out overlays on Instagram. It cannot be done natively on Meta, like I mentioned, but using the BigAtom tech, they were able to roll out overlays on Instagram. What you see on the right side of the screen is this nice black overlay. It talks about the brand at the top, Kylie Cosmetics. It talks about only a Sephora at the bottom. And we have seen that just by having this overlay on Instagram, they were able to get 103% increase in CTRs. I also want to call out that Instagram, because natively it does not show overlay, whenever any brand is able to show overlay, the uplift in CTRs is much higher on Instagram. So that's the third strategy for today. The fourth one is actually very, very interesting. It's extremely relevant for beauty, health and wellness categories, but also very important for apparel. Now, we may know, all of us may know that beauty is a consultative selling. A lot of people, when they're purchasing products like lipsticks, face creams, face wash, and sunscreens, they do pay a lot of attention on reviews and ratings because it gives us a social proof. If you see a product which has a 4.5-star rating, you have more confidence that this product is actually liked by other people like you. So you're more likely to buy this product. The challenge is, how do you show these reviews and ratings in the ad copy? And the biggest problem is every product has different ratings and different reviews. So you can't just put an overlay saying 4.5 star, and there are like 10 different products in the ad. Some of them have 4.5 stars, some of them have 3.5 star. So it's a common requirement from beauty brands that can you put product specific ratings and reviews on the ad copy? And it can be done using overlay templates on BigAtom. This is something which is natively not available on Meta. We saw in this particular case, 50,000 products were updated for Tira. It's a large beauty marketplace, like I mentioned, and we saw a 28% increase in CTR just by adding reviews and ratings onto the products. So showcasing reviews and ratings in ad images is again an overlay strategy which we have seen working exceedingly well for our brands. The fifth and the last for today is product specific overlays. Now let me just show you a very nice video to sort of introduce the concept of product specific overlays. You see this Azar fashion video, and on the first one, we had a nice Christmas. Second one mentioned ready to ship. The fourth one mentioned a Christmas banner. And the last one also again mentioned ready to ship. What is very unique in this particular ad is every product has a different overlay. There are certain products which are ready to ship, so it calls out ready to ship. There are certain products which are exclusive to Azar, so it has a nice banner of exclusive to Azar. Some products are on discount, so it calls out 50% off. There's a product which is on discount, it calls out 25% off as well. The unique point here is the overlay is actually specific to an image or specific to a product. It's not specific to an ad. And this is a challenge when we apply this overlay on Facebook, because Facebook overlays are linked to an ad or a creative, but they are not linked to a specific product and image. In this specific strategy, we saw that the moment we called out exclusive to Azar and we called out ready to ship, those specific products had a better conversion rate and a better revenue uptick. So calling out niche attributes of product in the ad using overlays also actually happens to be one of the core strategies which works. So these are the 5 strategies. Before we move on to the second part of the webinar, I want to run this poll by all of you that do you see yourself applying any of these strategies for your brand? And I think Harleen has already kickstarted the poll. So do put in your questions and we'll be happy to see this response. We'll take another 10-15 seconds for everybody to sort of put in their. Perfect. So we'll sort of end the poll now. And it's quite interesting and I'm not surprised at all, that a large percentage of you have actually called out that you would want to apply at least one of these strategies for your brand. And so happy to see that overlays are getting that sort of attention from brand and brand owners. So let me just move on to the second part of my presentation today. I'll probably take another 5-7 minutes. I want to start with calling out some of the challenges which we spoke about in the previous slides. Now, on the left side, what you see is Meta Business Manager. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. This is how overlays are applied in Meta. One big call out here is in Meta, overlays are applied on top of an ad or top of a creative. What that means is if you want to update overlays across 100 plus ads and 100 plus creatives, like I spoke in my first strategy, it needs to be manually updated in each of these ads, which becomes a big challenge because it requires a lot of man hours to manually update it. The second challenge is because it is linked to an ad and creative, when we apply an overlay on top of Meta, the ad goes back into learning. Now, I know all of you know about learning on Meta. It's one of the most debated concepts on Meta. And the challenge is when an ad goes back into learning, the performance of the ad fluctuates. The reason it happens is Meta reruns its AI algorithm to figure out which are the people who are most likely to purchase from your ad. And until the time Meta is able to figure out those people, the ad performance varies a lot. So that's the second challenge I want to call out today. When we apply overlays via Meta ads, it goes back into learning and leads to fluctuation. The third challenge we already spoke about in one of the previous slides. These overlays only run on Facebook feed. They don't run on Instagram feed. The fourth challenge is these overlays cannot pass dynamic content. So you cannot put ratings and reviews when you're running ads overlays via Meta. If you see on the left side, you have this nice price, discount, sale sort of overlays. They are off-the-shelf overlays on Meta. But the moment you want to pass custom parameters like ratings, reviews, description, they cannot be done because there is no option to pass dynamic content into Meta overlays. The fifth challenge, which you also saw, was these overlays are specific to ad, but in the same ad, if you have multiple different products, a couple of them could be ready to ship, some of them could be exclusive. it cannot be called out specific to a product. So either all the products can be called out as exclusive or all the products can be called out as ready to ship. But if you have 5 ready to ship and 5 exclusive products, it cannot be called out in a single ad on Meta. So these are the 5 challenges which we have seen when we work with brands and they're looking to scale overlays on platforms like Meta. The question is, how do we do it differently? And I want to call out this process which we have built at BigAtom. It's a very unique product we have been building for the last 5+ years. What we do in BigAtom is we don't use the Meta overlay. We actually change the image itself. So what you see on the top is an image which we pulled from the Shopify website. In the middle, we put that image, we put an image on top of it, we change the base image itself, and we send a new image to the Meta catalog. So in many ways, it's not really the overlay functionality of Meta, it's actually that we have changed the image itself. The benefit there is if we change the image itself, we can do hundreds and thousands of permutations and combinations. We can add custom data to the image. We can change images of certain products and not change images of others. Because we have changed the image itself, it does appear on Instagram as well. Because for Meta, it's the product image itself, and it's not really, they don't recognize it as image plus overlay. So just by using this proprietary technology of BigAtom, where we change the base image, we are able to overcome all the hurdles which we spoke about in the previous slide, and we are able to give this 10x better overlay feature to the brands we work with. Needless to call out that because we changed the image, Meta does not consider it as a significant change. There is no impact to ads. There is no change to campaign. So none of your ads and campaigns go back into learning. And it's done at a click of a button. So there is no manual updation which needs to be done across 100+ creatives. So there is a massive scale which comes along with it. We have seen brands when they put an overlay on a Friday evening, they may want to change the overlay on we have seen click-through rates go up. So this is sort of the, I want to show you very quickly on how it's done on the platform as well. Maybe a quick 30-second video. So if you see on the screen, we can see that there are different options available. We can add a frame overlay. These are all the frame overlays available on the platform. We can also add a strike-through on top of it. These are all the standard options which are also available on Meta. You can see how the overlay looks on the product. We can also put overlay rules on top of it. Now, this is super, super powerful because we don't have overlay rules on Meta. You can say that you want to apply this overlay only to the pants category, and it could be any subset of products within the pants. And when you click on save, the specific product images of pants get changed with this overlay. So it takes hardly 30 seconds to do that. You can do it across 100 products. You can do it across 1,000 products. You can do it across the entire catalog of 1,000,000 products also in one go using the overlay feature. Just the last slide I wanted to call out today. We also have a bunch of templates on the BigAtom tool. You can see this nice template on the left side of a brand called Be Young. But there are like hundreds and hundreds of templates which we have on the BigAtom tool as well. We have seen some of these predefined templates make overlay updation super easy. We also have an option to custom upload overlays. I know brands who want to upload their own creative overlays, which can also be done on the BigAtom solution. So while we wait for Harleen to join, I think we also have a bunch of questions which we have from the audience. So maybe I let Harleen sort of
Thank you so much, Anshuk, for those insightful tips on how catalog overlays can enhance visibility like the noisy catalog ads. I'm sure our attendees are excited to apply these strategies to boost their campaign performance. So we are now opening the floor to questions from our audience. Everyone is requested to please drop your questions for Anshul and Azam in the chat box. So we'll just give them a minute or two so they can drop in the questions. So Azam, we have a question for you. What leads to higher CTRs?
Leading to higher CTR is that buying behavior. So we need to look at the crux, what impacts, what influences buying behavior. Like Anshuk shared with a couple of examples with the cosmetic brand Tira that he shared, that reviews, ratings influence buying. Then he shared about Sephora, that Kylie cosmetic range was a new arrival, and that got people excited. Uh, and for Rare Rabbit, they do discounts twice a year, and those discounts get people excited. So what leads to higher CTR is when you can influence the buying behavior, and buying behavior is influenced when people see discounts, new arrivals, reviews, and ratings. And that in totality leads to higher CTRs. Anshuk, you want to add anything if I missed out?
Yes, absolutely. Azam, a really good call out there. We've also seen one more thing that there is this whole concept of ad blindness, right? Yeah, so imagine people are just scrolling their Facebook or Instagram and they see the same creative over and over again. They see this brand Sephora, they see the same image, they see the same ad message. So what happens over a time is consciously or unconsciously, they start skipping that creative. And this is very natural to human mind that the moment we see the same thing, we sort of just skim through it, right? And there's this whole concept which Meta coined some time back called thumb stopping creatives. What that essentially means is if your creatives are exciting or it's different, then people actually stop their thumb to actually pay attention to your creatives. And that's exactly what overlays do. Because when you change the overlay, everything else remains the same, but there is a small change at the border of the image, or there's a price, or there is something different called out. So our brain gets the signal that something is different, right? And because it's different, we don't sort of skim through it. We actually stop to observe what has changed. And that's exactly what leads to higher CTRs. The moment you stop and observe, then you're more likely to have an intent to purchase. So you're more likely to click on it. So we have seen so many cases that good or bad overlay, any change actually increases the CTR. Of course, if you do a great overlay, it increases by a significantly higher percentage. But even if it's an average overlay, just because it's a change in the creative, it leads to higher CTRs.
Yeah. So when you say change in the creative, what I've seen across working with brands and having seen advertising for 20 years, what I've seen is that freshness is what gets people excited. So when you talk of ad blindness, when you talk of thumb stopping creatives by Facebook, it's all about how do you add freshness to a bland image that could be there. And that's where you can use overlays, adapt them to interesting features, so that you bring in a little freshness in the product, which ultimately leads to higher CTR.
Absolutely, Azam.
Cool, Harleen, let's go with the next question.
Sure. So we have another question. Does ad go into learning when we change or update the overlays? Anshuk, would you like to take this one up?
Yes, certainly. So I sort of covered it in the deck as well, but I'll try to like re-emphasize it. So the good part is the way we update the overlay, because we change the background image in the catalog itself, there is theoretically no change in the ad, no change in the creative, no change in the campaign, and no change in the targeting. So in many ways, as per Facebook, nothing has changed in any of their structure of campaigns. So nothing goes back into learning. It's only the image which is, in my opinion, silently changed from the background. So it's like an incognito change happening from the background. So using the BigAtom tech, which is our proprietary tech, changing overlays does not lead to any change on Facebook. No learning gets reset. Having said that, if it's done from the Facebook ads manager, because overlays are applied on an ad, it is considered as a significant change and the ad will go back into learning. So the answer is using BigAtom, we are able to avoid that learning. But when we do it on Meta, the ad will go back into learning.
So Anshuk, are you saying that there's an ads manager of Meta and then there's a source image? So ads manager feeds into the source image, and what you do is you adapt the source image so the ad manager just picks that up like the normal image, even if it's adapted on an everyday basis. Is that right?
Absolutely, Azam. In many ways, that's the case. That the way an ad is run is image is being fed into the ad from a third-party entity called catalog. Right? So we just change that third-party entity from the back end and not let anything change in Ads Manager.
Nice.
So we have another question. How else can we leverage discounts using overlays? Azam, maybe you can take this one up.
Yeah, so I like this idea. It's a very tested idea which Amazon uses every day and been using for years now, which is Amazon limited time deal. So I feel that because these offers and discounts impact sales, impact the CTR, there is an opportunity where you could change the messaging or the offers on these images depending on season or maybe for a specific duration. So let's say someone checked the product out and they didn't end up buying and it is there in the cart. Maybe after a week, you could just retarget the ad to them with the offer so that they get excited. Oh, there's a price drop and this is only valid for 8 hours kind of a thing. So borrowing from Amazon's limited time deal idea, if you could adapt the same image which a shopper has put in the cart and has not ended up buying, adding a limited 8 hour kind of a discount could influence. And that's the practice that Amazon adopts. So yes, you can have the same Amazon limited deal idea applied to your entire catalog. You want to add anything, Anshuk? Please feel free to do that.
Absolutely, Azam. I think you covered it really well.
Thanks.
So we'll just wait for the audience to send in more questions. We'll just give them a minute.
In fact, Anshuk, may I ask a question? Because this could be in the audience. I'm sure Harley will pick it up. The question I have is, let's say you have a product for a season, and let's say you have a shirt for a certain specific season, and you want to recycle the shirt with another positioning linked to another, let's say it could be another weekly offer that you are running. So maybe you could position it as so it could be an out of stock size which has not got sold, and you could say that this all items under 500 or $500 kind of a thing. So is it possible to have those kind of messaging written on the overlays?
So that's a good point, Azam. And we have got this request from multiple brands which we work with. It can definitely be done because I spoke about passing dynamic content to the overlays, and dynamic content can be anything. While I give a specific example of reviews and ratings, it could also be material. It could also be USP, unique selling proposition. It could also be any specific attributes of the product, like for example, collar shirt, round neck shirt, striped shirts. So we can talk about any of those attributes in the ad copies. And the way it can be done is all these custom attributes can be fed into the feed, which is the catalog. And then we can pick it dynamically from the feed for each specific product. So if there is a collar shirt versus a round neck shirt, the collar shirt will have a custom attribute saying collar shirt, and the round neck shirt will have a custom attribute saying round neck. And these collar and round neck are dynamic attributes which can be fed into the image. We can regenerate the image with these attributes, send it to the catalog, and they will start appearing in the ads. So a lot of it is dependent on how the brand wants to portray it. from a tool perspective, it's fully flexible to handle such cases.
Awesome. Awesome.
So Azam, I have one question for you. Is this a great tool for product launches?
Yeah, because as Anshuk just said, that whatever the product USP is, you can edit it. So whether it is about a fabric, so that's one proposition. The second is it could be adapted to any season or any launch, uh, and because you can highlight these features and bring in that freshness. So yes, this like thumb stopping creatives, you can create that kind of a feel with overlays. And because you can create those thumb stopping creative feel, it's an awesome tool to amplify product launches and get thumb stopping.
Got it. So Anshuk, I have one question for you. Does the catalog image automatically adjust when overlay is applied?
This is a common challenge we have seen, and good you sort of asked this question, and I'm sure the audience would find it very relevant. I'll give you an example of a footwear brand we worked with, right? Now, footwear is a very tricky category for one reason, that photo shoots of footwear are hard to do, right? And if you really think about it, it's not that straightforward. You get the model capture, then the foot takes such a small portion in the entire image that there's not enough focus which happens on the exact product. If you just take the image of the feet, then how do you capture the influencer or the micro influencer or the celebrity? That's not the only challenge. The second challenge is when you apply overlays or frames on top of a footwear catalog, often the frame or the overlay actually sort of hides the product itself. So think about it as a border getting added to the image, but the border at the bottom sort of cuts the product itself because your product is at the bottom end of the image. So this is a very, very common challenge we come across, and for a category like footwear. The solution there is not to put the border on top of the image, because if you do that, the image will get cut. The solution there is to put the image inside the border. And there is a small difference there. When you put the image inside the border, you actually shrink the image first, and then you put inside the border so that it does not get cut by the border. And that's exactly what we are able to do using the templates of overlays. So think of it as a template version where you have a nice border at the end. You probably have a price on the right top, and you probably have a space for the product image. So you shrink the product image, you put it in that particular space so that nothing gets cut in terms of the product imagery. So I would highly urge people to try out the templates of overlays because it overcomes some of these challenges which are commonly seen by brands.
So Anshuk, if I summarize as a takeaway, the overlays get auto adapted to the screen and the feed. At the same time, there's no compromise on the product focus, the showcase of the product, correct?
Absolutely, Azam. And this can be customized as well.
Yeah, nice.
So Anshuk, I have a follow-up question similar to the one that I just asked. So how customizable are the overlay templates, and can we create our own designs?
So this can definitely be done. We actually have integration with tools like Figma. I know a lot of, or even Photoshop for that matter. I know a lot of brands want to design their own overlays. They may have their designing team put these overlays on either a Photoshop or a Figma. So we actually import these from Photoshop and Figma. That brands can send these templates to us. It will take us some time to import it back into the BigAtom tool. Once the template is imported and adapted to the tool, the brand can then use it across any of their ads any number of times. So just to answer that, it can be done. It does require one manual integration from our side, but once that is done, it's a fully self-serve opportunity for the brands.
So the next question which we have is, are there any limitations to the type of overlays we can use for the specific ad formats? I think Anshuk, you can take this up as well.
So I think there are some limitations from the platform itself. Like for example, currently all our overlays do really well on image creatives. So if you have a banner or a product image, the overlays do really well. We don't have overlay support for video creatives at the moment. So some of the people might know that Meta 6 months ago rolled out this concept of PLV, which is product level videos. What that essentially means is you can now upload videos to your catalog. And I have seen brands do that. They have a lot of influencer videos. They may have the same product being shot by 5 different influencers. So brands have increasingly started putting these videos onto the catalog as PLV. Our overlay feature currently does not work on top of videos. It works only on top of images, whether it's catalog image or whether it's newsfeed image. So that, in my opinion, is one limitation. We're also sort of working on expanding the overlay feature on top of videos.
Got it. So we have one more question. If I update the overlay by BigAtom, how long will it take to reflect on the ads?
So I can take it up. Usually, we have API integrations with Meta and Google also. So whenever we upload this overlay on top of on BigAtom tool, it's not like we are manually sending it to Meta or Google. It's done using a script. So we have server-to-server integration between our tool and Meta. Most of these server scripts runs at a predefined frequency. So we run it at once every 30 minutes, sometimes once every 60 minutes as well. So specifically in the case of overlay, we have a 30-minute TAT. So any change on the BigAtom tool will get updated on Meta in the next 30 minutes. We're also looking how we can make it faster and more real time, but that's in progress at the moment.
Right. I think we have another question. How do we get started with BigAtom? How does onboarding look like? Azam, would you like to take this one up?
Yeah, so we have a very strong onboarding team where so 30 minutes is all you need. We just connect your Facebook ad account and that's all. Everything else gets automated within 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes.
Right. And there's a follow-up question on this. Do I have to link a credit card to enable free trial?
No, for free trials, no addition of credit card is required.
Got it. Thank you so much, Anshuk and Azam. With that, we come to the end of our webinar. And here's the exciting part, your chance to book your free 30-day trial with BigAtom. Anshuk, can we have the QR code on the screen? Yes. So the audience can just scan the QR code, fill out the form, and our team will reach out to you. Thank you, Anshuk and Azam, for your amazing insights. And a special thank you to everyone who joined us today. Stay tuned for our next webinar. We'll keep you posted.